Hi, welcome to Spec Hunter. For years, the MacBook has always carried a reputation. It has been seen as a premium laptop, a device that costs at least $1,000 if you want to buy the latest model. That number has stayed consistent for a very long time. Apple has always positioned the MacBook as a higher-end product, something you buy not just for performance but for the design, the experience, and the Apple ecosystem. But recently, something unusual happened. On Amazon, the new M4 MacBook Air has been selling for just $799. That's $200 less than its official retail price, and it's one of the best deals we've seen in years. For that money, you are getting Apple's cutting-edge chip, excellent efficiency, incredible battery life, and the premium materials MacBooks are known for. There really isn't another laptop in that price range that comes close in terms of the balance between performance, quality, and design. This shows us something interesting. Apple is willing to let its laptops dip below that $1,000 mark, and people have noticed. Customers who were on the fence about buying a MacBook suddenly see it as a great deal. It also puts pressure on other laptop makers, because if Apple is offering this level of quality at under $800, then Windows laptop makers have to step up their game. But here's where things get even more exciting. Apple is reportedly working on something even more affordable. A new MacBook that won't be powered by the M-series chips, but instead by the A18 Pro chip. This is the same chip expected to power the iPhone 16 Pro. Imagine a MacBook that looks and feels premium, runs macOS, but is priced at only $599. That would be the cheapest new MacBook we've seen in decades. And to make things even more interesting, it could come with built-in cellular connectivity, meaning you wouldn't always need Wi-Fi to stay connected. Now, let's step back and think about Apple's strategy. Why would they make such a move? Apple's MacBook lineup has always been structured in a clear way. At the top, you have the MacBook Pro. These are for professionals who need more power, better displays, and features like extra ports and longer sustained performance. They start at around $2,000 and go up quickly depending on configuration. Then, you have the MacBook Air. This is Apple's most popular laptop because it balances performance, portability, and price. It's thin, light, and powerful enough for most people, starting at around $1,100 before discounts. What's missing in this lineup is a true entry-level MacBook. Years ago, Apple used to sell cheaper MacBooks. In fact, if you look back to the 2000s, the plastic MacBooks and even the early MacBook Air models were aimed at students and budget-conscious buyers. But as Apple transitioned to aluminum unibody designs and later to its own silicon, the pricing steadily increased. That left a gap for people who wanted a MacBook but simply couldn't justify spending over $1,000. That's where this rumored $599 MacBook comes in. It would fill that missing spot in Apple's lineup. It wouldn't replace the Air or the Pro. Instead, it would act as an accessible entry point, targeting students, casual users, and even people who might otherwise buy a Chromebook. Think about the Chromebook market for a second. Schools and universities buy millions of Chromebooks every year because they're cheap, easy to manage, and good enough for basic tasks like browsing, email, and online classes. But many of those students would prefer a MacBook if the price were reasonable. With a $599 MacBook, Apple could take a massive portion of that market. Now, you might be wondering why Apple would use an A18 Pro chip instead of an M chip. The answer is simple: cost and efficiency. The A18 Pro is going to be an incredibly powerful chip, built on advanced manufacturing technology. It's designed for iPhones, but it will be more than capable of running macOS. Apple controls both the hardware and software, so they can optimize the system to make sure everything runs smoothly, even on a chip originally designed for mobile. And because the A18 Pro is so efficient, this cheaper MacBook could have excellent battery life, possibly even better than the MacBook Air. Adding cellular connectivity also makes sense. If the Qi P already supports it, Apple doesn't need to spend extra to enable it. Imagine being able to open your MacBook anywhere and instantly connect to 5G, just like your phone. That would be a huge selling point, especially for students and people who travel often. It would also set this MacBook apart from Windows laptops in the same price range, since most budget laptops don't offer built-in cellular. Of course, the big question is how Apple would position this MacBook. It's unlikely to be branded as a MacBook Air or Pro. Instead, Apple might simply call it MacBook, reviving the old name for this new entry-level model. They would likely make some compromises to hit the lower price point. For example, the display might not be as bright or high resolution as the Air, the build might be slightly simplified, and storage options might start at a lower base. But even with these trade-offs, it would still feel premium compared to most laptops in the same range. Let's also talk about timing. Rumors suggest that this cheaper MacBook could launch sometime in late 2025 or early 2026. Apple has been watching the PC market closely. Sales of Chromebooks and budget Windows laptops have grown, while premium laptop sales have slowed. By introducing a MacBook at this lower price, Apple could refresh interest in its lineup and capture a younger audience who might later upgrade to a MacBook Air, Pro, or even other Apple products. It's a long-term strategy to pull more people into the ecosystem. From a business point of view, this move makes sense. Once someone buys a MacBook, they're more likely to use other Apple services. They might subscribe to iCloud, Apple Music, or even buy AirPods and an iPhone. The initial lower profit on the cheaper MacBook can be offset by the lifetime value of a new customer. Apple has done this before with products like the iPhone SE, which gives people a more affordable way into the iPhone world. The same logic applies here. If this new MacBook becomes reality, it could shake up the entire laptop market. Competitors would struggle to match Apple's combination of build quality, performance, and ecosystem at the same price. Chromebooks would lose their main advantage, which is affordability. Windows laptops would face pressure to improve their design and software experience. And for consumers, it would mean more choice and better value. But we should also consider the limitations. An A18 Pro chip, while powerful, may not be on the same level as an M-series chip in tasks like video editing or heavy multitasking. So this cheaper MacBook would clearly be aimed at light to moderate use. That's fine for students, casual users, and even office workers who mostly rely on web apps and productivity tools. But it's not meant to replace the Air or the Pro for people who need more performance. Battery life, on the other hand, could be a huge win. The efficiency of the A18 Pro combined with a larger laptop battery could deliver incredible results. We could see a laptop that lasts well over 15 hours on a single charge, making it one of the longest-lasting notebooks ever. Add cellular to that, and you have a machine that is always ready, always connected, and perfect for mobility. Design-wise, Apple will likely keep the same clean, minimal look they are known for. Even at a lower price, Apple won't compromise too much on appearance. Expect a slim design, possibly a bit thicker than the Air, but still far ahead of most competitors. The keyboard and trackpad will almost certainly remain excellent, since that's one of Apple's biggest strengths. If all of this comes true, Apple would essentially redefine what people expect from a budget laptop. For years, budget laptops have meant compromises in build quality, speed, and reliability. But this MacBook could flip that idea on its head, offering an affordable option without feeling cheap. So where does this leave us? Right now, the MacBook lineup is strong, with the Pro serving professionals and the Air serving most consumers. But the missing piece is that entry-level model, the one that makes owning a MacBook possible for a much wider audience. Apple seems to understand this, and the rumored $599 MacBook could be the answer. It's not just about the price. It's about bringing more people into the Apple world, giving them a taste of the Mac experience, and building loyalty that could last for years. This is one of the most exciting Apple rumors in a long time. Not because it's about raw performance or flashy new features, but because it's about accessibility. If Apple delivers on this idea, it could change the landscape for laptops in a very big way. So, what do you think? Would you buy a $599 MacBook powered by an A18 Pro chip? Or would you rather stick with the Air or Pro? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay updated on everything Apple is working on, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching Spec Hunter.